Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you've got your coffee, your cup of tea ready for this afternoon session, and welcome to Stream A, where we're going to have some Xero information provided to you by our one and only Sarah, our Xero hero at Cutcher Neale. I'll be giving you some information, and then there'll be further follow-ups with Dr. Stephen Spencer and Seamus Burke. But I'd like to introduce you to Sarah Buckton. Sarah is our Xero hero at Cutcher Neale and has over 15 years experience in all issues related to Xero, and actually uses Xero in a medical practice herself. So she's our go-to person within Cutcher Neale, and I'm really looking forward to her providing you with some really insightful and useful information about how you can use Xero and create some really good efficiencies and automate the process as well to make your life easier. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Sarah.
Thanks, Stu. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. So today is all about talking about cloud accounting and how Xero and its add-ons can help make that process a lot better for you. Cloud accounting has come a long way. So in a very short time, we are no longer stuck on a desktop environment. We can be in the cloud, collaborating with each other, using add-ons, making this process a lot more easier for you, and also getting other people involved in helping you with your day-to-day running of business. So today, we're going to talk about a few tips and tricks. Excuse me, tips and tricks on how Xero can help you. And we'll cover that area as well as entering and paying bills, which is another bit of a pinch point that could take up a lot of time when it really shouldn't. Then we'll go into some payroll issues and some areas that you could maybe find some efficiencies there and automate some of that process, getting your employees involved in submitting timesheets and leave requests and things like that. And then we'll also talk about an add-on that I love, which is HubDoc. That will help you automate some of your bill processes and receipts and things like that. So all of these except for payroll, which I'll talk about a little bit later, we'll have a demo. So we have a bit of a demo that I have pre-recorded, so we keep ourselves on time, which will take you through some of these processes so you can see them in the right environment. Okay, so let's get started. So we'll start with our Xero and reconciling. There's a few ways to achieve some efficiencies in Xero with this. So we will look at bank rules and cash coding. So with bank rules, the automation here is creating a bank rule for each bank account. So that's a fantastic way to automate many of the transactions that occur on a regular basis. So examples of these are patient income, wages and bank fees. So there's those regular transactions that we want to capture. That will set us up for some accuracy. So if we set up these bank rules, it allows you to select the contact, the account code, the GST treatment and descriptions. These rules will then automatically apply these selections for you each time. So that's creating a better accuracy of your data if they're all reconciled the same way. And that all rolls into efficiency. So if we have all this set up, bank rules will save you time and create that better efficiency as each reconciled transaction will be the same. So less chance of you needing to fix any errors down the track. The next step in this is cash coding. So this one I don't see used very often, but it's a really great time-saving tool. So once you've created all those bank rules, this is your next step in automation. So cash coding allows you to reconcile your transactions in bulk. So what you could be currently doing is reconciling those lines one at a time. We don't need to do that with cash coding. We can reconcile them all in bulk. So in a few clicks, here's your efficiency. Hundreds of transactions can be reconciled at the same time. So that's just going to speed up your processing and speed up your efficiencies. So next we're going to go with a demo. So I'm going to show you how these look in the Xero space. So do remember this is pre-recorded just so we keep ourselves on time.
Okay, so let's get started on creating bank rules and cash coding. So I just have a demo organization that we work with here, and I've imported some transactions just to help us with this demo purpose. So let's click on reconcile our items. So what you see here is the transactions that I've imported. The ones up top we'll deal with a little bit later. But the ones down here at the bottom, you can see they're sort of similar to what you would normally see, your Medicare income, and you'll see the Tyro FPOS towards the bottom. So we're going to get started on creating a bank rule. So very simply from the transaction itself, we just click Options, Create a Bank Rule. Then your bank rule screen appears. So it's identified that it's a receive money rule. If it was money that has been spent out of the bank account, this would automatically be selected for you as a spend money rule. So we're going to stick with the receive money rule in this case. So the big golden rule of creating a bank rule is it needs to be very simple. So we go with any text field contains. That's the most important thing I would tell you about creating a bank rule, just to select any text field contains. So the information that appears on the bank account is what we need to identify. So we need something to trigger this bank rule to happen. So in this case, we're going to stick with MCare. So that's the unique word that I'm selecting. If it's something like Tyro or FPOS, that's probably the words that you would need to select. So you don't need to worry about all the other information that's appearing on the bank statement line. So that might be your transaction information, a receipt number, provider numbers if they're included in the Medicare income that you receive. You just need to make it something unique, something that won't apply to other rules or other transactions that come onto your bank account. So we're going to stick with MCare. Then we set the contact. So in this case, I'm going to select Medicare. It's been used before, so it's available in my list. If it's not been used before, you can add that contact right here. You don't need to add a contact before you need to select it. So we're going to stick with the one that's already in the system. We're going to jump down now to number 4. So in number 4, we allocate that transaction. So keep in mind that this is a demo organization. I'm just going to select something from our revenue. So I'm just going to very simply select sales. This is where you would select the type of income account that you need to select yours onto. Tax rate, we can select that here. So I'm going to select GST free income, but here, this is where you need to set it. And this is really important because what you select here is how every transaction is going to be coded. So the contact has been selected, the account code has been selected, and the GST treatment has been selected for us. So we don't have to go back and do this every time for every transaction. Setting the reference, for me, my reference comes in as a description. Every bank account is different, so you just need to make sure you're selecting the right reference here for where your bank imports its transaction data. Targeting a bank account, so targeting a bank account can be for one or all. So I'm going to stick with this bank account that the transactions are in, but you can, like I said, select all bank accounts. So an example of that could be bank fees that every account would have. You can select one rule that would cover all of your bank accounts. But like I said, let's stick with bank account here. Then we give it a title. I'm going to call this one Medicare because that's what is easy to identify it as, but you can make it whatever you like. Right, let's press save. Now that that bank rule is set up, as we scroll down the screen, you'll see that it is no longer asking for me to put that information in. This bank rule has applied. And it's not only applied to this one transaction we set the rule on. As we scroll down, you can see every transaction has that bank rule. How cool is that? No more entering all that information one at a time. What a time saver. So this is where you would select OK, 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 and reconcile your transactions. However, hold everything. Let's go with cash coding. So cash coding is a really great tool to use once you have all your bank rules set up. Let's jump over to there. So on your cash coding screen, you have the ability to code in bulk, not just one transaction at a time like we have in the reconcile screen. Cash coding can be done all at the same time. So what you'll see on this screen here is you can actually tailor your columns. So you can actually sort these columns by these different headers. So if we click on payee, click on description, they all start changing the way they're being shown to us. But what's really cool is you'll see, because we have a bank rule on the Medicare income, you can see all that information for us has been pre-filled from the bank rule, as comparing to the ones above here that don't have any information entered yet. They don't have a bank rule on those. So if you can imagine, if you had a bank rule set up for all of your income, so all your Medicare income, all your FPOS income, rent even, so you might have pathology rent, things like that are coming in, you have a rule set up for all those regular transactions, you can now reconcile in one click. That's right, one click. All those rules are now applied. Let's go save and reconcile all. So instead of just selecting one line at a time, we have now reconciled those 5 transactions in one click. Imagine if it all had a bank rule on it. This will take you no time. So the idea is just to jump into your reconciling, go straight to your cash coding, ensure your bank rules are working correctly, reconcile your bulk of transactions, and then let's jump back to the reconcile screen. Once we're back on the reconcile screen, all that's left here might be one-off transactions, bills to match that have made a payment on, or ones that you might need to set up a rule for that you haven't got to yet. So this is going to save you lots of time. And the best part about it is, yes, it's a great time saver, but also all those transactions we have just reconciled in one click have all been coded exactly the same way. That's efficiency right there. All right, let's jump back to our slides.
Okay, so hopefully you found some nice handy tips there. The next step we're going to talk about is entering and paying bills. And this can be a really big pinch point for people processing in Xero. And it can take the most time is gathering all those receipts and those invoices, getting them into the system, paying them. Like I said, it can take a long time when it really doesn't need to. There's lots of technology out there that can help you with that. So this is where I'm going to discuss a few little options that can make this a much better process for you. A couple that we'll start with is entering your bills using Xero and how you're paying your bills. So attaching source documents to the transactions in Xero is really easy. Source documents can be viewed at any time in the future by other users, including your accountant or your bookkeeper, and they can do it straight from Xero. The other benefit of attaching source PDF documents to transactions will make your process of entering bills much more quicker and efficient. If your suppliers email their invoices to you via email, which a lot of them do now, these can be forwarded straight from your email inbox to Xero. So each Xero file has a unique email address dedicated to emailing your bills to. When you forwarded your email with the attachment, Xero will read the PDF document and show this as a bill as a draft in your Xero file. So when you open your draft bill in Xero, it will show you the source document alongside the left and the enter bill screen on the right. The best part, if it is a readable PDF document, Xero will actually fill in the information for you. It'll fill in a contact name, it'll fill in the due date, date of the invoice, contact name, like I said, and invoice number. All that automatically for you. So all you need to do is review it, enter a description if you think you need one, enter the account code of where it's going to be reconciled to, and the GST treatment. So then in most cases, if this is a regular supplier in Xero that you use often, it will actually remember where you coded it last time, and it will actually be using that and prompting that for you. So one less thing you have to do. The next one I see that a lot of people don't actually use is repeating bills. So setting up repeating bills for those regular transactions. You can set this up as a draft, so then you will just review it and approve it, or you can actually set them up to automatically approve, and they'll just be sitting in your awaiting payment list. So ones could be like for rent, telephone bills, internet bills, things that are just the regular amount every month. They can be set up as repeating, something you just have to set and forget. The next one I see a lot of people not utilizing is batch payments. And this is a really crucial thing, I think, in the step of paying your bills. So paying your supplies in bulk with a batch file is what we're talking about. So in Xero, you can select multiple bills from different suppliers, or if one supplier has 5, 10, 20 invoices, you can also select all of those. You can create that in a batch ABA file, is what they call it. And you can upload that to your internet banking. So this batch payment will debit one amount from your bank account and pay all the various suppliers for you. So this is going to save you time from entering those separate payments one at a time in your internet banking, and it also reduces the risk of paying the wrong amount or the supplier in error and increasing your efficiency. So all it will take sometimes is reversing a figure back to front, paying the wrong person, and the time spent on trying to get that back or rectifying that issue can take you a long time. So I'm just going to show you a bit of a demo on that, and you can see how it works.
Okay, so back in our demo organization. So this time, as we said, we're going to look at emailing PDF bills to Xero and looking at repeating bills. So this is another time saver that you may not be aware of. So I have already emailed a bill into Xero, so we can have a bit of a look at that. So what you'll see is on your dashboard, there is a draft bill sitting here waiting for us to action. So you might be asking, where do I find that email address? Okay, so let's have a look in the bills to pay area. Let's click on see all. And you'll get to this probably familiar screen to you. So what you'll see at the very top here is creating a bill from email. So if I click on that, what you'll see is this is the unique email address for this Xero file. So if you press copy on that, You could save that as a contact in your email program. So that is already available for you. So you're very simply forwarding your bills into Xero. So we'll go over to the draft tab. So this bill was sent through to the Xero file. It's waiting here for us to action. And you'll know that it's been forwarded from email because it has this forwarded bill tag on it. And what you'll find is when we click on that bill, let's open it up. We'll see the bill appear. All right. So what you'll see is, how cool is this? It's entered in the name of the organization, the date of the bill, the due date, the reference, which is the invoice number, and a total. So all that information's been pre-filled. How exciting is this? And that only takes a matter of seconds. Doesn't take long at all. So then all you really need to do is just review the description. Keep in mind, now we've got that side by side and that source document attached. The description may not need to be as in depth as it probably used to be because you have that attachment right here. So you can very simply just put, I'm just going to put golf balls, if I can type, golf balls in as my description. And then we just need to select the account code. I'm just going to select again. Tax rate, just select the tax rate. So I'm going to accept the default. I'm happy with that. So as you know, Xero is quite smart. So if you start to use this same supplier and regularly have bills from them, this information also starts to be memorized. So Xero will actually pre-populate that information for you next time. So it's going to get smarter and smarter for you. Very simply, then it's just a matter of clicking approve. So you have now forwarded all your bills into Xero. Xero has read that bill, put in the main key data information for you. All you needed to do was review it and approve. That's a time saver there. So I'm just going to click approve on that one. Okay, let's go back to bills to pay. Let's discuss repeating bills. Repeating bills is something that's very underutilized in lots of client files that I go into. So repeating bills can be used just to automatically set up that invoice that you constantly pay. It could be a rent payment that you constantly do. So this works the same for invoices as well. So this type of demonstration I have for you right now, you can use the same for invoices. So it's very simply just going to repeating bill, create a new repeating bill. And here you set up the template. So again, this would look familiar if you're using bills. So you can choose how to repeat this transaction. So I'm going to repeat it every month. I'm going to select the first of the month. So one will appear for us in our demo. So you can select that in the future, in the past, how you want it to have its due date. So 30 days after the bill date is what I'm going to select. So you can select different types of options. You can change the day, anything like that. That's up to you. Then here you can select if you want to have as a draft. So that'll appear as a draft in Xero for you. Then you can just approve that draft. Or if you're happy that it's going to automatically happen the same way every month, then you can just simply click, I just want to approve it. So it will automatically generate and approve for you in the awaiting payment tab. This is where you select your contact. So very simply, if I just start typing, so I'm going to go fax 2 in this case, and you can just set a reference. What's excellent and underutilized as well is inserting placeholders. So we can say fees for the month of, and insert a placeholder. So we can go with month, year. So whatever the month and the year of the the bill has been selected. So in this case, 1st of March, it'll actually have fees for the month of, and it will automatically put March 2021 for us. We don't have to type that every time. Another time saver. So in the description, again, we can just put monthly fee. Again, if you want to go with placeholders, you can. So you can just say monthly fee March in this case, set away of what you need it to be. I'm going to click some expenses. Let's come down to something a bit more exciting. Let's go with printing and stationery. GST treatment, let's select that. I'm happy with the GST on expenses, and let's go to town and press save. Alrighty, so what you'll see now that's now going to appear every month. So the next bill is going to appear on the 1st of April. So when we come into this next time in the future, that bill now is going to be sitting in the awaiting payment. You'll see the one we've just created, fees for the month of March 2021 for that fax 2 has appeared. That's done. We didn't have to do a single thing. When 1st April comes around, it's going to look exactly the same, but have April 2021. So then when the amount comes onto your bank account that you've paid it, you're just going to match. So you haven't actually done anything. The program has done it for you. How cool is that? So the other thing I find unutilized as well is batch payments. This is something that you can do, which you may already be doing for your payroll, which we'll talk about in a minute. So hopefully you're not, but if you are, you may be going into your bank account and making multiple payments on your payday. So the day that you're deciding to pay all your bills, you might be paying all those bills separately. If you are paying by direct debit, direct to the person's bank account, so that would be just putting in the BSB and account numbers, this is for you. So you can select multiple bills to be paid in one go. So you download a batch, upload that batch to your internet banking, and that gets paid. So one amount debited from your bank account to multiple accounts. That's another time saver. So let's click a couple. So let's say we want to pay the phone company, we want to pay that fax, and we want to pay one of these demo companies. Simply, we've selected those. Let's click batch payment. We want to select those bills? Yes, please. This now brings up our batch payment screen. Then we can select which bank account we want to pay them from. I'm going to select our demo bank account that we've been using as the bank account, but you can select different ones that you want. Then let's go continue and review the bills. Okay, we're going to create the batch payment. So you can also forward date the payment. So say you want to create it today, but I don't really want to pay that or have that come out of my bank account until next week. Very simply, let's select that date. Then we can have a reference. I'm happy with just bills on the date is for me. Here's when you can put in the detailed information. So you can enter in the bank account details for those people, and you can select the reference. So generally I like to copy paste what the reference was from the actual bill. So this could be your invoice number, and I change the reference that they would see on their bank statement. So this is for what the supplier will see for them. And you can go ahead and put in their bank account information as well, just in here. And we just go continue. And it gets continued. It gets saved now. So the bank account details would show in this screen for us, but they're not. Okay, and there's your batch payment done. So exporting a batch file, so you would export the batch file, save that onto your computer somewhere, then it's ready for you to upload to your bank. You can print the PDF, so that'll print you a PDF form of this screen, so you can actually match that amount that's coming into your bank account just to make sure when you upload it, it's the right one. And then you can also send remittance devices. So you can send those remittances right from here if you have an email address saved for these particular companies. So as you can see, another way to quickly and efficiently do more in Xero. Great, let's go back to the slides.
Okay, so hopefully you found that helpful and got some tips out of there that you can utilize. The next one we'll have a quick talk about is payroll. So payroll I don't really have a demo for, only because it can be very varied between a lot of different people, how they pay their employees. So these are just some simple tips that you could be using. Xero does have the ability to do timesheets. So using Xero's timesheet function can decrease the time spent on manual timesheets. Entering a timesheet in Xero allows you to enter the total hours for each day and for multiple pay items. So once the timesheet is approved, it will then pre-fill for the corresponding pay period and have it ready for you. So it only requires you to review before you post it. Employees are also able to create their own timesheets, which will appear as a draft for the payroll admin person to review and approve. There's a couple of ways they can do this. So each employee can have access to their individual My Payroll portal. So in this portal, they can view their contact details, their payslip history, so they can download their old payslips if they wish. They can also answer in their timesheets and their leave requests and send them off for approval. Employees can also utilize the Xero Me app on their phones, and they can enter their timesheets and leave requests there as well. So great time saver. You don't have to be doing this. The employees can get involved. You can also email your payslips. So if you have an email address saved for your employees, you can send them their payslips straight from Xero, which is also a great time saver. Like the bills, you can also do batch payments. So very similar, you can pay your employees in bulk with a batch file. So you create a batch payment file after posting your pay run and upload that to your internet banking. So this batch payment will debit one amount from your bank account and pay the various employees for you. So this is going to save you time from entering the wrong amount for an employee, save you doing it one by one in your internet banking, which would probably take a long time if you've got a few employees. You're just reducing the risk, and that increases your efficiency. So auto super as well is something I do see utilized quite a lot. If you're unaware, Xero does have its super clearinghouse right inside Xero. So the efficiency here is that you don't need to create those reports. You don't need to double create employees. So if you're using a clearinghouse outside of Xero, you'd have to create that employee in that portal. Also having created it in Xero, you don't need to do that anymore. So when you process your pay run, Xero captures the super amounts that you have occurred for each employee. So no need for reports. When you make the super payment in Xero, it will allow you to select all the super lines you wish to pay. So then you just authorize the payment with an SMS code sent to whoever that authorized person is. And the amount is direct debited from your bank account, usually the next day. And all those amounts are sent off to the super funds on your behalf. So you don't even have to log into your internet banking. This one's done for you. So hopefully a few tips there for you for payroll. So the next one I want to talk about is HubDoc. So this is really exciting. So HubDoc is an add-on program used with Xero to capture source documents. HubDoc uses machine learning technology that reads the documents and extracts key data to create a bill. HubDoc will also read receipts. So these can be matched to money spent from your bank accounts and credit cards in particular, and matched straight in Xero. So with the HubDoc app, you can also submit receipts on the go, like I said, very easily. No more paper receipts. There is an app for this to do it as well, so you can snap and send. So HubDoc is also a virtual storage platform where all the submitted documents are kept and filed in a virtual filing cabinet. So you can then easily access all this information at any time in the future. Also, your documents can be saved for your accountant or your bookkeeper, so you can upload them here, and it's easy collaboration for everyone involved. So you may be asking, who should use HubDoc? So I find using bills using the bills function is the best way. So I feel like if you have a mid to high volume of bills, and I determine that probably about at least 10 bills a week, I really feel like you'll get a lot of efficiencies using HubDoc. So there are a few ways that you can do this. So you can forward your email documents like you did for bills into Xero. You can forward them to HubDoc. You can upload them, or you can drag and drop easily on the platform itself, which we'll see in our demo. If you've got lots of receipts, like I said, there's a mobile app, so you can submit your receipts to to HubDoc on the go. And if you're providing regular bank statements and documents to somebody that's collaborating with you, then you can use the store virtual filing cabinet and collaborate with each other. So what will it do for you? So HubDoc is going to automate your data entry. So once you're in HubDoc, the key information from receipts and bills is extracted automatically. So your invoice date, due date, supplier name, invoice number. So very, very similar to like we showed in the demo before. The difference for HubDoc is the GST amounts are extracted. That's really important. So it reads and knows how much GST is on a particular bill. Multiple lines can also be extracted for different GST treatment amounts. So it's going to extract out the GST free lines and then extract out the GST on lines. So you probably find like medical bills, you'll find there's some medical suppliers have both. So it's actually going to extract that for you. And then it's just a one-click publish to Xero. And then if that is a bill that you've paid out of your bank account, it's just a one-click to reconcile in your bank feed. So this is really going to increase the way and the efficiencies that you do your bills. You can auto publish to Xero as well. So this is another game changer. So supplier rules can be set up. So when you automatically push a bill or a receipt into HubDoc, it can automatically code that with the rule you set up, and it can push it straight to Xero without you having to manually touch anything. If you have that auto sync feature switched on, it's going to do that straight away. So you don't have to touch anything. It's no manual work involved at all. So with the virtual filing cabinet, you can store all your documents there. It sorts them by supplier or your bank account, so you can easily locate past invoices and your bank and past bank statements. And also too, something that people don't sort of think about is it can assist with your ATO requirements for record keeping. So if you're required to provide documents and evidence to the ATO, HubDoc can assist this by having your source documents easily available, already sorted for you. Very, very easy to capture those. So I have a bit of a demo for us to have a look at, and hopefully you find it as exciting as I do.
Okay, so let's have a look at HubDoc. This is the HubDoc screen. This is your homepage. This is a demo organization again. What you'll see is it's a very simple layout. On the first column here, you can see all your documents you've uploaded in the past. So this is your virtual filing cabinet like we spoke about. I'm just going to jump into the uploads one. So these are all the documents we've actually uploaded. In here, you can see they're all being separated by the supplier. So these are all the documents I've uploaded in the past in this demo organization. Just going to jump onto that one demo one. So if I click onto there, let's click on all, it's going to show me all the documents that I've had from them in the past. This one here looks familiar. This is the one we used previously in the other example and demo we did. So you can see the transaction is there, what you've uploaded in the past, all in one place. So it's a nice, really great place to have all your documents in the one-stop shop. So you can see everything there. The tabs across the top here, so when you're uploading your documents, they all appear differently. So all obviously, then you have your processing. So once they're actually being read by HubDoc, they'll appear here. Then I'll move over to the review tab where you will need to actually review the document, select all your supplier settings and the settings for that particular document. And failed, if any fail for any reason, it'll have a notification on why it's failed. You just need to fix those up. And the archive tab, so the ones that you've actually pushed in the past and they've actually been read and now they're sitting in Xero. So to upload a few documents, it's very easily. So just very simply clicking on upload document. There's a couple of ways, 3 really, that you can use to get your documents into HubDoc. You can drag and drop your documents in, which we'll do in a second. So then you can also browse as well on your computer and find them if you've got them saved. You can submit them by email. So you have a unique email address that can be set up, very similar to what the PDF to bill example that we did earlier. This can be tailored to be a unique email address, whatever you like. I generally recommend something like your name of your company, if it's available at app.hubdoc.com. So that could be changed to make it nice and easy for you to say that as a contact or give it to other suppliers and they can send their bills straight into HubDoc. That would even be a better time saver. You've also got the app. The app is fantastic for receipts. So if you have somebody who's taking lots of receipts, you can take a photo of that receipt and that receipt will just appear in HubDoc for you to code in one place. So nice and easy for them. I'm just going to pull in a couple of documents so as if they were being sent in. So I'm just going to bring in an Energy Australia bill, a water bill, and a receipt so you can see the different examples of what you can do. So those ones have now been uploaded straight away. So let's go to the processing tab. So you can see how all those documents have actually left the processing. They've already been processed. That's how quick it was. And now they're sitting in the review tab. So here is how we actually edit those documents. One really great feature about HubDoc is you can actually see potential duplicates. This bill has actually been uploaded before because it's my demo, but it's a great example to show you how you can see if that has been uploaded before and you can determine if yes, you do need to upload it again, or however, no, I don't want to upload that twice. I don't want to pay that one twice. So it's a really good stop point there. You can go back to your Xero file and just see, yep, definitely have a duplicate of that there. I don't want to pay that one again. What you'll see, very similar to the PDF to bill, you can see all that transaction information has been entered in for us. So we've got the supplier entered, the date, the due date, and the amount. Very simply, we can just select that as being an invoice number has come up for that one. In an electricity bill, you probably don't tend to put an invoice number in there, but you can if you wish, like a date range even. And what I do want to show you here is the configuration to Xero. So this is what we need to actually configure from the Xero settings. So all these settings have come over from your Xero file. So all your supplier information, all your chart of account codes, all that information is the same as what you would see in that Xero file. So it's a very simple case of just selecting that information. So we're going to select as a purchase in this case. If you have a receipt and attached to, say, potentially a credit card, you can make this a spend money transaction. So it won't create a bill in Xero. It'll actually have that spend money waiting for you to match it against. So that's pretty cool too. Another step saved. So I'm going to stick with purchase though. In the status, you can actually select draft, awaiting approval, awaiting payment. So that's the flow that you have in Xero. I'm going to stay with awaiting payment, but you may be using draft or awaiting approval methods depending on what your approval workflow is. The contacts here, so that's the contact from Xero. It's already picked up Energy Australia. I'm happy with that selection. The account code, electricity, again, very happy with that. What you do have the ability for is saving this configuration. So I can save this configuration. So every time an electricity bill comes in from Energy Australia, it's going to save and remember these details. What is awesome is the auto sync feature. So if you have a bill, this is a great example of one that you have would be coded exactly the same way every time. A phone bill may be another one, but if you're having them coded exactly the same, let's click auto sync. So auto sync will actually read that bill, make these changes on the bill for you, code it that way, and then push it to Xero. You don't have to do a single click. As soon as you upload that bill into HubDoc, it gets read, coded, pushed to Xero. You didn't have to do a single thing. It's all remembered it, it's all coded it, it's all pushed it into Xero. How amazing is that? So in this case, I'm just going to press publish. Bang, that bill is now going to be sitting in our Xero file. I'm just going to go down to the Hunter Water one. So exactly the same way, you can see that all those details are pushed in. Then we could definitely do the same idea of coding that one. Into the Bunnings one. So this is a receipt. So you can see how quickly that bill got read. So sorry, that receipt got read. So it's already selected all that information for us. It's a simple case of saying, yep, that one's a receipt. You can do an invoice reference if you wish. The date has been read. The due date, obviously, receipt doesn't need one, and the total amount has already been read. That is amazing. Then we just go to the Xero configuration and we can do that from here. So we can say that's a spend money and that contact was Bunnings. And we can choose the bank account. So this is where I would say how it was paid. And then again, I'm just going to select repairs and maintenance for this particular example and go publish. That's it. That's all I had to do. All that information was read. And again, like I said, if it's something that you're coding the same way every time, just select that as the saved configuration. And better yet, if you're happy it's going to be coded the same way every time, auto sync it. It's now in Xero. Let's jump over to the Xero file. I'm just going to refresh this screen. Okay, coming down to the bills here. So bills we need to pay. Let's have a look at those bills now that should be sitting in awaiting payment. So we should now see that Energy Australia bill. So that Energy Australia bill is sitting in there for us ready. So that's been coded, pushed, sitting in there. The Hunter Water one, I didn't publish it. I'd already published it previously. That's now sitting there waiting for us as well. So we didn't have to do anything. Once that's auto synced, they're sitting in there for us. Going back to the dashboard, I want to go down to my credit card. If I have a look at the account transactions, so they're the transactions that are waiting to code, that Bunnings one that we pushed through is now sitting there waiting for that amount to come on our bank statement and it would simply match. How awesome is this? So we've now got efficiency on top of all that, accuracy, we're all over that now, and how much time have we saved? This add-on, it will change the way you do your bills and do your receipts. All right, let's go back to the slides to wrap up.
Okay, so if you have any questions, really happy for you to pop them in the Q&A box below. I do apologise, we have gone over time a little bit. That's why I record my session, so I make sure I don't go too over time because I get really excited about all the efficiencies we can have with Xero. We've just got a few minutes if there's any questions. I'll pass to Stu if there are.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. There are a couple of questions, which we should actually answer a couple of them as well, and lots of content in there. Thank you very much. The first question we've got is, can Xero data and document images be backed up independent of the Xero servers? So I guess that's where they saved in there, which you may or may not know, but we can certainly come back and grab some more information for Paul there in that one.
Sure. So HubDoc actually does have that ability. So even though it is stored in the HubDoc space, if you want to have that backup, that might be the option for you. And you can automatically set that up to back up to like a Dropbox or a Google environment. That's definitely possible with HubDoc. That will happen for you automatically. Yes.
Right. Another question was, how long does it take to set up a Xero file for people who want to start using Xero?
So I guess it depends on what we're talking about in the volume. So if we're talking about employees in payroll, that is generally always the most time. So I would generally allow sort of an hour to 2 hours for somebody like myself who sort of does this all day. So that's pretty common for me to spend that amount of time getting it set up correctly, but it can be a process that could take a while. Payroll, like I said, will be the biggest key. But I think if you get these systems happening, you might not want to implement them all at the start, but I think if we do 1 or 2 to get you going, get the most efficiencies, and over time, once you feel happy with one step, then let's implement another one. So I'd hate to do all of them all at the same time. It can be overwhelming. So I'll definitely start with a couple, then over time we can just go with the rest. Probably a payroll would be the next option on top. So get your sort of all your processes working and then do the add-ons on top.
Yeah, right. It's no secret that we're fans of Xero, Sarah, because it's so
Yes.
easy to use. But what about it occurs to me those people who already have set something up themselves, for example, maybe another file, like a MyOver file, if they so choose to use Xero, is that process easily enough done?
Yeah, so to converting it to Xero is quite easy for to be achieved. So it just requires a backup of the MIB file, and then that can be sent off for conversion, and we just make a Xero file out of that. And you can select if you want history of transactions. You can have, you know, very detailed 12-month, 2-year detailed transactions in there, or you can just have balances created. So the possibilities are a bit endless there about how much you want to create in your Xero file, but definitely possible. We do that all day, every day, converting clients from what they call the purple product over to the blue product.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Sarah.
Thank you.
Really good information.